In the far northeast corner of Ethiopia, where three tectonic plates are pulling apart from each other in slow geological motion, there is a place that looks like it was designed to kill everything that enters it. The Danakil Depression sits over 100 meters below sea level, one of the lowest points on the surface of the Earth. Its average year-round temperature exceeds 34 degrees Celsius, making it the hottest inhabited place on the planet by annual average. Rainfall is almost non-existent. The air smells of sulfur, the ground hisses, and the landscape, neon yellow sulfur springs, bubbling acid pools in electric green and orange, vast white salt flats that stretch to the horizon, and an active volcano with a permanent lake of molten lava, looks less like a place on Earth than a rendering of what the surface of Venus might be if you could stand on it and survive. You cannot, for the record, casually survive in the Danakil. Dead birds and insects ring the perimeter of its most toxic springs, killed by the carbon dioxide-rich air that pools in the low-lying areas around the vents. The acid pools will burn through clothing and skin. The ground in some areas is thin crust over boiling water, and yet people live here. People have lived here for centuries, and they have built an economy, brutal, ancient, and still functioning, on the one thing this hellscape produces in abundance: salt. This is the Danakil Depression. National Geographic has called it the cruelest place on Earth. Scientists use it to study what life on other planets might look like. And the Afar people, who mine its salt by hand, load it onto camels, and walk it across the desert to market, have been doing so since before any of those scientists were born. If this is the kind of geographic story that brought you to YouTube, subscribe to Uncharted Geography right now. We cover the most extreme places on the planet, and the Danakil might be the most extreme of them all. The Danakil exists because of geology operating at a scale that is difficult to comprehend from the surface. It sits within the Afar Triangle, the junction of three tectonic plates: the African plate, the Arabian plate, and the Somali plate. These three plates are diverging, pulling apart from each other, and have been for roughly 11 million years. The process is literally tearing the African continent apart at this point. Creating a rift valley that is slowly widening and deepening. The Danakil Depression is the lowest and most geologically active section of this rift. The crust here has thinned to the point where magma from the mantle sits close enough to the surface to heat groundwater, drive volcanic eruptions, and create the geothermal chaos that defines the landscape. The depression was not always a desert. During the Pleistocene, the geological epoch that ended roughly 12,000 years ago, the Danakil was flooded at least 4 times by the Red Sea. Ocean water poured in through gaps in the surrounding highlands, creating an inland sea that deposited thick layers of salt and marine sediments on the basin floor. When the water retreated, the salt remained, hundreds of meters of it, compressed and baked under a sun that allows no relief. The salt flats at the Afar mine today are the fossilized floor of a vanished ocean. Every block of salt cut from the Danakil is a piece of a sea that evaporated thousands of years ago. At the northern end of the depression, near the Eritrean border, lies Dalol, the most visually extreme geothermal field on the planet. Dalol holds the record for the highest average annual temperature ever recorded at a permanently inhabited location, over 34 degrees Celsius year-round without relief. But the temperature is not what makes Dalol extraordinary. The landscape is. Hot magma beneath the depression heats groundwater flowing down from the surrounding Ethiopian highlands. This superheated water rises through the thick salt and mineral deposits, dissolving iron, sulfur, potassium, and other compounds as it goes. When it reaches the surface, it erupts as brine through cracks and vents in the salt crust, creating pools and terraces of liquid in colors so saturated they look artificially generated. Neon yellow sulfur deposits stack against acid green pools. Rust orange iron formations rise from white salt crusts. Turquoise brine lakes shimmer beneath plumes of steam. The formations are constantly changing. Pools form, overflow, evaporate, and reform in patterns dictated by the temperature and chemistry of the water below. Nothing at Dalol looks the same from one month to the next. The landscape is alive in a way that rock and water are not supposed to be. The springs are not just beautiful, they are genuinely dangerous. The pools are highly acidic, some with pH levels below 1, more acidic than battery acid. The air around the vents contains concentrated sulfur dioxide and carbon dioxide. Visitors who linger too long in the low-lying areas around the springs risk asphyxiation from the heavier-than-air gases that pool in depressions. Dead insects and occasionally dead birds are found around the perimeter of the most active vents, killed not by heat, but by the invisible blanket of toxic gas that settles over the terrain at ground level. In 2016, researchers from the University of Bologna and Ethiopia's Mekelle University studied whether microbial life could survive in the Danakil's most extreme environments. They found extremophile organisms, microbes adapted to conditions of extreme heat, acidity, and salinity, living in environments that were previously thought to be completely sterile. The discovery drew immediate comparisons to the search for life on Mars. If organisms can survive in the acid springs of Dalol, the reasoning goes, they might survive in the hydrothermal environments that scientists believe once existed and may still exist on the Martian surface. The Danakil is now used as a terrestrial analog for astrobiological research. NASA and ESA scientists study its chemistry to calibrate instruments designed to detect life on other worlds. If you are finding this fascinating, hit that like button for Uncharted Geography right now. It helps more people discover these stories about the most extreme places on Earth. At the southern end of the depression, roughly 100 kilometers from Dalol, stands Erta Ale, one of the most active volcanoes on the planet. Erta Ale is a shield volcano, broad, low, and gently sloped, rising only 613 meters above sea level. It does not look impressive from a distance, but at its summit, inside a roughly 1 kilometer wide caldera, sits one of only 8 permanent lava lakes on Earth, and the longest continuously active one, burning since at least the early 20th century. The lava lake is not a metaphor, it is a pool of molten basalt, glowing orange and red, its surface crusting over in dark plates that are continuously broken apart by the convective churning of the magma beneath. Standing at the rim of Erta Ale at night, looking down into the caldera, you see the interior of the earth exposed, raw, incandescent, and moving. The magma rises, cools slightly, darkens, cracks, and is pulled back under as fresh molten rock surfaces. The cycle never stops. The heat rising from the caldera distorts the air in waves. The sound is a deep, low rumble, not an explosion, but a continuous exhalation, as though the planet is breathing. Erta has erupted multiple times in recent decades. A major event in 2005 killed 250 head of livestock and forced the evacuation of thousands of Afar herders from the surrounding area. Further eruptions occurred in 2007, 2008, and 2017. The volcano is not dormant. It is not predictable. And the tourists who hike to its summit, typically on overnight treks guided by Afar men who know the terrain, sleep on mattresses laid directly on the volcanic rock of the caldera rim, watching the lava churn a few hundred meters below them until sunrise. Between Dalal and Erta lie the salt flats, vast blinding white expanses that extend for dozens of kilometers under a sun so intense that the ground temperature can exceed 80 degrees Celsius during summer. And across these flats, as they have done for centuries, the Afar salt miners work. The Afar are a Muslim ethnic group of roughly 4 to 5 million people spread across northeastern Ethiopia, Eritrea, and Djibouti. The Danakil is their homeland, a landscape so extreme that it has historically deterred every would-be conqueror and colonial power from attempting sustained occupation. The Afar have adapted to the Danakil, not by conquering its harshness, but by integrating with it. Their economy in this region is built around salt. Miners travel to the flats, often on foot or by camel caravan, journeys that take hours or days, and cut blocks of salt from the crusted surface using hand tools. The blocks are shaped into uniform slabs, loaded onto camels and donkeys, and transported west across the desert to market towns in the Ethiopian highlands where the salt is sold. Salt was a form of currency in Ethiopia until the 20th century. Bars of salt, called amole, functioned as money across much of the Ethiopian empire for centuries. The Afar salt trade is one of the oldest continuously operating commercial systems in Africa. The same routes that camel caravans follow today were followed by caravans 1,000 years ago. The same tools are used, the same methods, the same brutal arithmetic of heat, distance, and survival. The work is punishing. Miners cut salt in temperatures that regularly exceed 45 degrees Celsius, using axes and levered bars to break slabs from the flat. They work without shade. Water is carried in and rationed. The blocks weigh roughly 6 to 7 kilograms each, and a loaded camel carries dozens of them across terrain that offers no shelter, no water, and no relief from the heat. A round trip from the salt flats to the nearest market town and back can take weeks. The pay is minimal by any global standard, and yet the trade persists, because the Danakil offers almost nothing else, and the salt beneath its surface is functionally inexhaustible. The Afar themselves are among the toughest and most independent ethnic groups in the Horn of Africa. Their society is organized around clans and subclans, with leadership structures that have resisted outside authority for centuries. The Ethiopian Empire, the Italian colonizers, the Derg military regime, the modern Ethiopian federal state, none have fully integrated the Afar into centralized governance. The Danakil's geography is the primary reason. The terrain is so extreme, so vast, and so logistically difficult that projecting administrative or military authority into it has never been worth the cost. The Afar govern themselves because the desert makes governing them from outside functionally impossible. Their adaptation to the Danakil goes beyond salt mining.
The Afar are semi-nomadic pastoralists who herd goats, sheep, and camels across seasonal routes, calibrated to the rare appearance of grazing land after rains. Their houses, called ari, are portable dome-shaped structures made from woven mats and animal skins, designed to be assembled and disassembled in under an hour. Everything about Afar material culture is built for mobility in an environment that punishes permanence. You do not build stone houses in a place where the ground is literally moving. There is a new threat to this ancient economy, and it comes not from climate or geology, but from industry. The Danakil Depression sits on significant deposits of potash, a mineral used in fertilizer production, and several international mining companies have explored extraction operations in the region. A railway being built from Djibouti and a new paved road along the old salt route may soon render the traditional camel caravan obsolete. When mechanized extraction replaces hand-cut salt blocks and trucks replace camels, the Afar salt trade, one of the most enduring human economic systems on the planet, will end. Not because the salt ran out, but because a faster, cheaper way to move it arrived. The Danakil Depression is a place that, by every rational standard of human comfort, should not be inhabited. It is too hot, too low, too toxic, too geologically unstable. The springs will burn you. The volcano will erupt beneath you. The air in the wrong hollow will suffocate you. The sun will blister exposed skin in minutes. NASA has recognized this. The agency uses the Danakil as one of its primary terrestrial analogs for planetary research. A place on Earth where conditions approximate what scientists expect to find on the surfaces of Mars and the moons of Jupiter and Saturn. The acid pools of Dalol mimic the hydrothermal environment that may exist beneath the ice of Europa. The salt flats mirror the evaporate deposits detected on the Martian surface. The extremophile bacteria found in the crater vents demonstrate that life can persist in conditions previously thought to be incompatible with biology. When NASA designs instruments to detect life on other worlds, they test them first in the Danakil. If it works here, the
reasoning goes, it might work on Mars. The cruelest place on Earth is also, paradoxically, one of the most important laboratories for understanding whether life exists beyond it. And yet, people have been here for centuries, cutting the salt, loading camels, walking across white plains under a sky that offers nothing but heat and light. The Danakil does not welcome visitors. It does not reward curiosity with comfort. It simply exists, the rawest, most geologically exposed piece of the Earth's surface that human beings have ever attempted to call home. A place where the planet's interior is visible, where the chemistry of creation bubbles to the surface in neon colors, and where the oldest trade in Africa continues under conditions that would break any machine not specifically engineered to withstand them. The cruelest place on Earth, and one of the most extraordinary. If this video changed how you see Ethiopia and the forces that shape the most extreme landscapes on Earth, make sure you are subscribed to Uncharted Geography. We cover the places nobody else shows you, the ones that redefine what you thought geography could look like. Hit subscribe, drop a comment telling me what extreme place you want us to cover next, and I will see you in the next one.